Did you know that you would be doing this?
So I was like, you know what? If I'm making money this way, what is it like to be an owner of a store? In 2016, we bought Bitcoin at like $3,000 a token. How do we stop chasing money? How do we implement this into a way that helps our business? Our system doesn't work in a pyramid. It works in a circle. The hardest piece with blockchain is the education. They don't even realize that they're accepting a digital currency. When I say it, they think I'm talking money. It's about the people. The people are the asset. No matter which way you look at it, what business that you're in, the asset is the people. I mean, we want to build smart cities to where
You've done some research into this city. Are you planning something?
Hey, when you want to build unincorporated cities, and there's things that, I've negotiated a town before. I didn't pay attention. I'm just trying to sell you something. Or am I truly, truly listening to you? You can have a town buy its own bonds through tokenization, and you can lower taxes for people. Hey, I'm JJ with the Move Enterprises. Welcome to the Test Kitchen podcast. Oh, I'm excited. This is going to be a wonderful episode, and I'm excited to actually had a chance to finally come on to the podcast. So this is exciting for me.
Yeah, glad to have you. So how's it going, JJ? It's kind of hot in Texas right now.
It's bipolar Texas, man. You don't know what to expect. I mean, you got to be prepared for it all, for the rain, for the sunshine, and then make sure you got snow boots, because it could do anything. I don't know. The meteorologists, they just look at the screen now and go, you know what? I give up.
That's why they wear cowboy boots, right? Because they go perfect summer, rain, snow, whatever.
They can wear it however they feel. So,
Are you from Texas?
Born and raised, man. Born and raised. I actually I lived in Florida for like 5 years, but that was, I graduated high school in Greenville, Texas, man. Like, it's East Texas, small town, man. I think I see some of these people that are graduating with classes of like 3,000-4,000. I'm like, dude, we only had like 200 some people in my graduating class. But it's a small town, So I know, some of the stuff that you do when it comes to AI, and obviously with Move Enterprises and the Move, we're into blockchain. You go to Greenville with that stuff, they be like, wait, what? They're just now getting a Waffle House, man. It's crazy.
What? Okay, so that's smaller than mine. My high school, my graduating class was 100 people. So
I don't feel so bad then. So we good.
Okay, so it was a small town, but my town, Macon, used to be the capital of Georgia.
Yeah.
Before Atlanta.
Okay.
And then it became a small town.
Yeah, I've been in this space. I've met quite a few people from Georgia lately. Okay. It's a lot of people from Atlanta that I've just been like, wow, why is everybody from Atlanta like hitting me up right now? So there's a lot of changes that are going on over there. So it's not just entertainment like a lot of people think, music and stuff like that. It's just business starting to boom over there in Atlanta in a lot of areas. So
yeah, it is picking up. So right now you have Network 22, you have the Move, you're into this whole Texas blockchain movement. Did you know that you would be doing this now in your life, in your career, or did you imagine yourself doing something different when you were a kid? You
woke up that back in the day, you're like, oh man, I want to be a firefighter, and I want to be this, and I played little league football, so everybody aspires to be like, oh man, I want to be in the NFL one day, so I got into sports. I was in track, things like that, but at school I was in a program called Media Tech, and Media Tech was awesome because I got to go around, mess with people on the camera, and do some cool stuff, and still be in sports. But the biggest thing for me was when I graduated. I worked at Six Flags for like 10 years, man. Okay. I was in the rides. And so then I moved into entertainment. Then I started entertaining in the shows. So then I started realizing, man, I've got something, I got something. But then I got into broadcasting school. And so, I worked at Kiss FM for a little bit with Kid Craddock in the morning, RIP, and Billy the Kid, which he's actually on 102.9
Wow.
now with this crew, him, Candace, Pooh. I worked with all those guys. And so being in radio, it kind of helped me to be able to do other things. And so it also helped me while I was working at Six Flags, because being able to talk to people, entertain, meet, shake hands with people, it just opened up a different door. Well, then after that,
Makes a lot of sense. I can see that.
yeah, right. You know me, I go somewhere and everybody was like, JJ, that's because I don't know a stranger. My wife, sometimes she's like, okay, can we just stop for a minute? Because my wife, she's the introvert. I'm the extrovert, obviously. And so even in the partnership that I have with, my partner, Mike, we've been partners since 2011 when we used to own Verizon Wireless franchise stores. But see, kind of back up a little bit in 2008 when I got into sales. Once I got into sales, and then I was doing car sales for a little bit, and then the market kind of tanked. So not kind of, but it did tank. And so I got in that. I started doing wireless sales, cell phone sales. And I'm like, man, this is simple. It was easy, right? You got people coming in. It's not like car sales. So then I started doing cell phone sales, learning a little bit more about that, and I was making good money. So I was like, you know what? If I'm making money this way, what is it like to be an owner of a store? So, I moved to Florida for a little bit. And 2011 got our first store, Verizon Wireless store, and started learning how things work, opening up, doing things. We sold the stores in 2015, moved back to Texas. Came back to Texas, and then my mom partner, we opened up what we call a wireless innovation store. And it was all about innovation. It was all about what's the newest and latest and greatest type thing that we can come out with, right? So we had a guy that came in there, and it's so funny that I see this new Samsung phone that has the screen. I don't know if you saw that. So it has it to where it's like a privacy screen that's built in. You can turn it on and off on the new Samsung. But we had a guy that we were helping with that type of technology back in 2017. So we were already doing innovative things, but we got into crypto back in 2016. We bought Bitcoin at like $3,000 a token. We sold it like 4,500. So you don't think we were kicking ourselves, singing our shoulda, coulda, wouldas? So the biggest thing for us was to not sing our shoulda, coulda, wouldas anymore. We're like, you know what? How do we stop chasing money? How do we implement this into a way that helps our business? Nothing against the banks, but it was one of those where you go to the bank, try to ask for a loan for your business, try to pitch them, try to show them your P&L and all that other great stuff. And it became a struggle, because you want to be able to stop chasing money and creating wealth for yourself. And so that's when we started learning in 2019 tokenization, understanding how to create crypto ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how it went from there. It's like building our own ecosystem, right? So a lot of companies, you see the MLMs and pyramids, and our system doesn't work in a pyramid. It works in a circle, which means every single piece, any token that we create, it's going to work with each other. So that way it flows from within. So you got your AI company, and so we can use Keisha. So Keisha can help with some other companies and things, right? So let's say Keisha has its own crypto coin. Cool. So a Keisha coin can also trade with this other coin. And that could also trade with this other coin. And it can trade with this coin. This coin might be, let's say American Airlines just happens to say they want their own token. American Airlines. But let's say American Airlines wants their own token. Well, then Keisha, they can start accepting that Keisha. It's no different than them accepting like Visa, MasterCard, or anything else, Google Pay. It's just, the thing is that they hold that Keisha coin as let's say, a glorified gift card. Mm-hmm. So again, those are some of the things that we want people to understand. The hardest piece with blockchain is the education. That is the hardest piece. Mm-hmm. Implementing and integrating, that is so simple. So simple. And why is that? Because
when you say education, what do you mean? Like teaching people what to use it for? I mean, because I see there's two sides. There's like the people who are doing the blockchain development, and there's people who are on the sales side, and there's like the consumer side. So
yeah.
In the education piece, is it all of them? Or?
All of it. Every single bit of it, because you got to think, when you go to people that own a business, the first thing that they ask is, well, how does that work on my end? So then I asked them the simple questions of waking them up and saying, hey, what do you use now? What digital currency are you accepting for your business now? And a lot of them would say, I don't accept digital currency. They don't even realize that they're accepting a digital currency. When I say it, they think I'm talking only crypto. I'm like, if you're accepting Visa, MasterCard, and all those other ones, you're accepting a digital currency. You ain't accepting cash only. You got places like some of these other restaurants and a lot of places aren't accepting cash anymore. They're cashless.
I went to a place and they were like, yeah, we don't accept cash. Like, okay.
That literally shows what's moving out to a digital world.
The dollar is pretty much digital now, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's a borrowed note, and so your dollar now is not going to go get you much at all. I mean, you look at a place like the State Fair of Texas, where those coupons used to be a quarter. Now it's $1 per coupon. So you're paying $25 for a turkey leg. People don't put two and two together because they see 25 coupons, not realizing, well, wait a minute. It's like going to the gas pump. Mm-hmm. And what is it? $5 now, $4 now for gas, right? So your dollar doesn't stretch like you used to, because people are like, oh, I love money. I love having the cash. That cash doesn't move like it used to, man. And so the biggest thing that you're going to see is places like Chase Bank, right? So Chase, Jamie Dimon comes on, and Jamie Dimon, he wasn't an advocate for crypto at all. And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, so they have their own coin, their own coin called JPM coin, which is a stable coin. And then they're also accepting Bitcoin and Ethereum for collateral. What does that tell you? That's where the world is going. So I'm no financial expert at all, but we're experts at tokenization of when it comes to watching, what the charts are doing. We don't have to look at the charts per se, because people come up to us and say, man, JJ, what cryptos do you expect us to buy? I don't say anything, because I'm like, we got away from that. It's not about us buying crypto now. It's about us. How do we create it in the ecosystem where it's going to circulate? You look at, it's not about the money. It's about the people. The people are the asset. No matter which way you look at it, what business that you're in, the asset is the people. You don't go to an influencer, an asset influencer, how much money they have. You ask them how many followers, because that's the asset, the data. And in your world, data is important because people want that information. So you can try to get somebody that has $2 million all day. It's like, oh, I got $2 million. Let me start a crypto. That's not going to work, because our first question to somebody that says, I got $2 million, can you start us one? We're not interested, because you got to have the substance behind it, which is something that's going to basically go into that.
Circulate.
Correct. It's got to circulate. You look at you look at the government and what they've done with food stamps. Food stamps used to be paper dollars. Now it's all digital. And they made partnerships with grocery stores, gas stations. You even have DoorDash and all those guys accepting it. What makes EBT popular is the fact that it's being circulated. That's all it is. It's all about circulation. So
it kind of, in a way, with any fiat currency, I mean, unless you're talking about trading gold or commodities,
right? Everything
is kind of like, it's really no difference in principle between any other fiat currency when you put it that way.
Yeah, and with crypto being ruled as commodity, it's more flexible, because crypto is, you can use it over any other country, right? It's been highly accepted in a lot of other countries. So imagine somebody saying, "Man, I've got $20 million worth of gold." They can't travel with that gold, but if they got $20 million worth of Bitcoin, they can travel anywhere in the world and then do business.
And it
is instantaneous, right? You can send it instantaneously, right? So I wish our country would jump on board a little bit more with it. And if they really understood what we could do with blockchain technology, this world would be, you could cut all of that debt, that deficit, what are we at? 37, 39 trillion, whatever the heck it is. You could cut it like in less than a year if you wanted to. I mean, we want to build smart cities to where these cities are sustaining themselves with crypto. It can be done. We already have the means. We already have the technology to do it. That goes to the education, because if our officials are at the top that aren't educated on this stuff, I can talk to them till they're blue in the face. They're not going to get it because they're so used to the same can that's being kicked down the street for, since money was even created. The history of money is crazy. You look at Texas. Texas back in 1836 used to have its own currency. They couldn't pay taxes with it, but they still use it in the ecosystem. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You start going down that rabbit hole of history of money and just looking at what's transpired. When people probably looked at Visa or MasterCard and they were like, man, I don't know about that. Now everybody uses it. Right. But then you look at Bitcoin, it has surpassed Visa and MasterCard numbers both together in transactions daily. You look at other countries, and a lot of people will probably look at El Salvador and go, oh man, El Salvador, El Salvador implemented Bitcoin. They implemented, and the president sent out $30 to each citizen in Bitcoin and told them to go spend it. He had 2 million citizens acclimated.
Smart play, because it makes it circulate, like you were saying.
And it's easy to do that. I mean, you can do that in the US. You can go in there and say, hey, you can do it with any city. Like if I had the means right now and said, hey, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to find me some land, and I'm going to build me a city on the outskirts of any city that has no city jurisdiction, but it's more just county law. Mm-hmm. And they have those things. They have like, what do you call them? Unincorporated lands.
Sounds like you've done some research into this city. What are you planning something?
Yeah. Hey, you'll be the first to know. It's when you want to build unincorporated cities, and there's things that I've negotiated a town before. It's a sore subject, but I've negotiated a town, and there's somebody that bought it out from under us, or a billionaire bought it out from under us. We this close to getting that town, but I wanted to literally create a token for that town to where it sustains itself. You can have a town buy its own bonds through tokenization, and you can lower taxes for people. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night, to show people how simple it is. Like it's really simple, man. It's not that hard. Again, it goes to the education. It's us going through the struggle of trying to get funding for our projects and saying, you know what, why don't we stop trying to have a seat at their table and just create our own table? Let's start creating our own wealth and our own funding. Let's go Starbucks, right? Starbucks has 1.8. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You must be reading my show notes, because I'm like, the stuff you said, you've hit on like 4 of the questions I was going to ask you already. And the Starbucks thing I was going to bring up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I read that they're making more money off of their rewards. Mm-hmm. They're not even a coffee company anymore. They're a bank.
They're a bank.
Because of the assets that are sitting in the rewards and what they do with that.
You got to think $1.8 billion in unused gift cards. My wife, she's a nurse, and so she's got probably gift cards just sitting there, right? So many people, they spend it. Let's say they got $10 and they spent $7 inside. Well, that's $3 that's sitting there. You can't buy anything in there for $3. So it's going to sit there on that gift card. What are you going to use it for? So it sits there. That's money that's already accounted for when it comes to, that. What we want, and I mean, you got $3.8 billion that's loaded on just that crypto, just in the app alone for Starbucks. Because you got to load a minimum of $10. So the reason why they went away from gift cards so much is because they did have that $3 that was left, and people complaining, I don't have anything to spend it on. So then what they did is said, all right, we're going to put in this app, but we'll send you a message letting you know you have to refill it. So now $3.8 billion a year just goes on to that app. That is a bank. And they can leverage that all day because they have so many people around the world that's using Starbucks. Mm-hmm. So imagine you having a system that's like that in your city, to where everybody's already paying their taxes. So imagine it feeding a crypto. Imagine that going into a crypto and the value increases. So now people have more buying power within that city, because now the people can feel like this is actually my city. They can actually call it my city because I have indirect equity in this city. That's what we want to do with that town. Mm. You could do this. I could still do this with any town. It just, the easiest ones to probably tokenize would be something like a laundromat, a car wash, an arcade, because you're already using that type of mentality of people buying tokens or rewards to play the games. Mm-hmm. So you go to Chuck E. Cheese, we got kids. So you go to Chuck E. Cheese, and they used to load it to where they used to load and give you the coins where you put it in the machine. Now they've went digital. So now it's a wristband or it's a card where you click it and say, all right, now I can play the game. But you win rewards because
Last
as
one I went to, I tapped my phone. I downloaded the app and just tapped the phone.
you just tap the phone. That's where the world is going. And so a lot of things are going to be tapped. It's just easier, but it's also data. Why we haven't gone to a place where prices are cheaper, I still don't understand that. It's just, I think it's a lot of greed. We can make things cheaper. We actually can make things cheaper using blockchain. I mean, imagine you having your own coffee shop, your own coffee shop. I mean, it's Keisha Coffee Shop, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? And you build your rewards. Now you can pay your employees with that same token because you can negotiate that. You look at Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham, he negotiated half his contract with the Rams and Bitcoin. Smartest move that he could have done. Half of his contract. So now he has access to that money because there's no rule of law on that type of transaction. Just give me Bitcoin. If somebody told me right now, I'll bring you $1 million and just $1 million in cash, I'll give you $1 million in Bitcoin. Give me the Bitcoin all day. Well, aren't you afraid it's going to go down? Well, the dollar already drops every day. Have you seen our gas prices?
4 years, that $1 million is not going to be what it is.
Thank you.
Anyway, so it's more likely that.
And the dollar is going to just keep going. The price of the dollar that's going to cost us more at the grocery store, $100 in the grocery store don't even go that far anymore.
Right. Wouldn't that cause I like the idea, but I think about the other side of how do you manage it? Because in a new town, it's easy because you started from zero. But in a city as big as Dallas, trying to get everyone to integrate their machines and do you see any obstacles in the transitionary phase?
That goes to the education. But how do you get people? You do it like El Salvador. Hey guys, here's a new stimulus. I'm gonna send you money. I guarantee you, my mama will be the one to call and say, how do I get this money? Because if they say they're sending out a stimulus check right now, the government said they sent out a stimulus check, and the only way to get that is to go through this way. People are going to be lining up trying to get it. That's how you implement it. It's like forced, but if you give them a means of making it on their phones, because everybody has a cell phone. Everybody's got a cell phone.
What about the businesses? How do you get them over?
It's a simple POS system. That POS system it goes from basically what they're already using. Technology has gotten crazy, so it's called API, right? So with the API, we just send the software to over the air to their system, and then they just make sure that now they're able to accept that coin. It's that simple. So as they're accepting that token, I would if I'm like a mayor of a city. And I say, everybody's going to use this. I'm going to give you a token of their appreciation just for accepting it. It's no different than them accepting EBT because they have to pay those people back with EBT. Because if so people come in and pay with SNAP or EBT, the government has to go in and make sure that they cover the cost of what that person accepted it. Because they have to be a part of that program. They have to sign up, say, we're going to start accepting EBT. How do they get reimbursed to pay their bills if they're accepting all this EBT? It's the same thing. It's like cashing out.
I see.
So
it's just like when everyone migrated to like the Square thing, right? And everyone bought that little thing that plug into the headphone jack.
Yep.
Nobody really complained about having to buy that because, like, if the customer has the money, you want to be able to take it. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, you want to be able to pay your bills. You want to be able to cash it out. So if I'm showing this business how to easily cash this out, now if somebody comes in there and tries to pay you with a bar of gold, how hard is that transaction going to be? Because now you got to have a buyer for that. You got to have somebody that's going to buy that gold in order to cash you out. Because you can't pay your bills with that gold. And you look at what's going on right now. You look at gold prices. Gold prices are through the roof right now, 5,000. But you see Bitcoin is down. People started cashing their Bitcoin out and going into gold. Don't take my word on this, but I do see it. I don't have a date. It's just as soon as Bitcoin starts to go back up, you're going to see gold go like this because people are parking their money out of Bitcoin. They're playing the game. Mm-hmm. It's a long game. Now here's the difference of what we do and what people like of what we do over at Move. And the reason why we call it Move is we move different. Okay. And it's MUV. It's not your typical MOVE. It's MUV because the U is about you. It's not about us. It's all about how we can move a system. That's why our initial thing is move as one. When you have a system that moves as one, it's hard to stop it. And so imagine going into a city, and I think the biggest hurdle is the education, but that goes back to them accepting it. That acceptance, that mindset of, man, well, it's I don't think it's supposed to be that way. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I'm gonna get in trouble. Well, when you have churches that are accepting crypto for tithing, what does that tell you? So it's you got churches accepting, you have politicians accepting it for their campaigns. That's already happening. I'm not telling you something that's not already happening in this country. It's just it has to be more than just the elites that are, doing crypto. That's just being real. Like we teach it on a bottom level of, and I hate to say bottom, but that's just the facts. It's people that are on the level of that I graduated, I got the education, but the hardest ones to teach this is your people that are like CPAs and financial business people that went through college on the normal system.
Yeah.
Those are the hardest ones to teach. If I can get to the high schools right now and teach them blockchain, they're going to be the easiest ones because they pick up on technology fast, and two, they haven't gone to college to have to be unlearn on a lot of the stuff that they already found out. Because me, I didn't go to some big college to learn finances. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I didn't have a lot to unlearn to understand blockchain and crypto and how it works. So a lot of people, they say, man, how much that's going to cost me a lot to get in. No, it's not. You could get into crypto at a penny or at a dollar. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of scam groups out there. I think that's the scary part with crypto, is that you get these MLM groups.
You see, you get the wallet address, and once the money is gone,
it's gone. You can see it though. What's so crazy is you can see where your money went, but ain't nothing you can do about it. This is why you have to protect yourself. This is why you have to educate yourself. Remember, I told you the education is the hardest part.
How do you protect yourself from the scams?
You have to ask questions, and they're like, well, who do you call? There's not a lot of people to call on this.
Are you?
You call me
or Mike.
My number is, I'm just kidding. So you could ask the questions, but AI has gotten smarter. You can plug it into Gemini. You can plug it into ChatGPT and say, hey, does this look like a phishing scam? Does this look like this? And it's going to tell you. Now, is it always right? Not all the time, but majority of the time, like I would say 95% of the time, I've never had a problem. There may be some misspelled word, like maybe, or something out of place, but the context of it, everything has been right. Some people just need to embrace AI. They need to embrace it. It's helped us on a lot of things when it comes to this, to where, now going back to your question is protecting. If somebody's asking for your passwords, it's a scam.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
It's a scam. If somebody's saying, hey, it's going to cost you a minimum of $500 to get in, it's a scam or it's an MLM. That's not crypto. If they're telling you to go to a website and log in and say, this is your wallet, as far as like, this is our site, and it's not places where you can look up your wallet address on like Dex Tools or those other places for crypto, it's a scam. That's just their internal system that they created, something that looks like a wallet on the blockchain, and they're making it look like you got all this money and you don't. You can never cash it out. It's like play money. That's like, I mean, if somebody's doing that and you believe them, I got some beachfront property in Oklahoma City. You know what I mean? Something like that.
I think that's a big thing too, is like not people knowing that they should be able to see their blockchain address, their wallet.
Right. And that's the thing you got to be educated on, is like knowing what's a scam and what's not. Again, ChatGPT will allow you to be able to see that type of stuff. Like you can fish it out. It's really easy to fish out.
Right. So actually, before I ask my next question, how did you meet Mike?
He's so funny, and I love that question. So with Mike, when I was in Florida, and the company that I moved there with was another authorized dealer of Verizon, and I wanted to leave that company because I wanted to open up my own store. I've always had the aspiration, like, you know what? I know there's more. I know I could do more. And so I just happened to walk into one of Mike's stores because Mike already had 3 stores before. And so he was selling one of his. And it was, and so I was like, hey man, I want to come work for you. I want to learn underneath you. He goes, and so he apparently he already saw, you know, in the internal system, they can see sales across the nation. And so he knew who I was because he said, your name is who? And so I told him, he says, dude, like from this company? I'm like, yeah. He goes, dude, I can't afford you. He'll still tell you this story, man. It's crazy. He's like, I can't afford you. You're going to tear me up in commission. Because me, I'm gonna figure out, I'm gonna show you. Like, I don't really sell to people. I tell them what they need. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna literally put you on what you need. Not, if you're pulling up on a bike, I'm not gonna sell you a car charger. It's, for what? You ride a bike all the time. That means I didn't pay attention. I'm just trying to sell you something. Or am I truly, truly listening to you? So anyway, with Mike was like, yeah, man, you're a heck of a salesman, man. I can't afford you. He said, but he says, I'm selling this store. So I ended up finding an investor and I ended up buying that store.
Okay.
And then, you know, we started getting a little behind on stuff on my paperwork because I'm about this, man. I'm just a mouthpiece. I could go, you already know, I could go forever. And so I was falling behind on the back end. Sales, I was killing it, but I didn't have that back person. And Mike is just very particular with things. Like, Mike is freaking good. Like, he's really, really good. So we just basically put the stores together. So let's just work this thing together, man. Let's make it work, you know, and so be it. We have 3 stores rocking and killing it, you know. And like I said, in the wireless game, man, it's chargebacks are killer though. Chargebacks were a killer back then. You know, you sign a contract, Verizon says...
What is the charge? I've heard it, but I don't quite...
Like, they have it in insurance, they have it in other things. So chargeback is... If a client, they already pay you out commission. So let's say you have you sell an insurance from a company, and they have a window in there saying that they cannot deactivate the account for a time frame because we already paid you on the commission. If they paid you on a commission and that person deactivates within that time frame, they literally hit you back on your next stuff, like for the next check, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. So imagine you going in and your reps come in there and you have fraud where somebody comes in and say, I want 5 iPhones. Mm-hmm. They sit down there, I got 5 iPhones, and they send them overseas, and now they deactivate it in 45 days. And now all of a sudden Verizon says, we want our money. Well, that chargeback hits not only your account, they paid those iPhones. They probably got it for $200 and we paid wholesale price for them. So now we take that loss, we take that hit. So there's a big hit on there. So you may look like, oh man, I got $60,000, $70,000 coming, but then that chargeback's like $20,000, $30,000.
Oh, wow.
So your operating budget is different. But then imagine those people also calling their credit card company and saying, hey, I didn't make that transaction. Now you got hit on that. So just on one sale, you could take a $5,000 loss on 5 iPhones. Easy. So that is different. It's way different, man. So, but this is why we have the POS system for crypto, because of that. So, but yeah, me and Mike, we've been partners since 2011, man. It's been a long time.
That's a good one. That's like the best co-founder story.
Yeah. It's a trust, man. Like it's just like when we develop crypto for companies. If somebody says, hey, we want to develop crypto, we have to vet you. We have to know that you have integrity and honesty. Because the minute that you do anything shady, it falls back on us. And we're not in this business to screw people over. Mm-hmm. To kind of hit on crypto a little bit more is our system, our coding, and I say our coding, but Mike is the genius behind this. Mike handles a lot of the when it comes to that coding and everything like that. We set it up to where we're able to lock a token for a certain period of time. The value still will increase because nobody can cash it out. Mm-hmm. And we do this to protect the business. We protect the integrity of their company and everything. And as imagine it like a stock that hasn't gone public yet, but it's in crypto, it's already public, which means it's still trading worldwide, but nobody can cash it out. After that lock, let's say we locked it 6 months. After that 6 months lock, it would unlock by itself. We will put a 1 to 2% daily max cash out on the token to where nobody can just dump the token. There's no more whales and all that stuff trying to come in and dump the token. We do that, but people go, well, I don't know if I like that. Well, you allow the banks to do it because you go to the ATM machine. They tell you how much you can in your daily usage.
500,000 today, and tomorrow you come out and come back and say, I want 100,000. They say, hey, we gotta give us a couple of days.
Yep, give us a couple of days because they know they can't afford to do that because they got to have the liquidity because they already traded your money. So that's what we've got it set up in that system to do that. But it gives your business time to basically buy your own dip.
Can you still use the crypto? You can't cash it out, but if I wanted to buy something with that crypto,
peer-to-peer.
Can I still do that? Okay.
Starbucks.
That doesn't count as a cash out.
They can buy Starbucks again. Starbucks, they already got the money, but the only thing they can spend it on is they can't cash it out.
I can't take my Starbucks card and say, hey, I have $100 on this. Let me get my $100 back.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. So during that 6 month period, you can't do it. But after that, we give you rewards for, hey, here's a token of our appreciation. Hey, cash them out. You want people to be able to cash out because now they'll brag about it. People love to brag about, man, I made money off of this. It's just like them having indirect equity in Keisha coffee shop. So that's the key to it.
That makes it more of an ecosystem as well. Because if I can't cash it out, but I can spend it on these partner networks.
Yes.
And, they can leave Keisha and come to Network 22, and then they can go to American Airlines.
Yeah, right. I love that. Yeah.
Book a flight to Las Vegas is all in network, so to say.
Yeah. And then you're going to have more partners jump on board. So if they fly to Vegas, guess what? You partner with, MGM decided to come on board. Thank you, MGM. They're on board now. Now they're accepting Keisha token because it has value. It has intrinsic value by it being circulated. That's the key to it. It's a glorified gift card with cashback rewards.
I see. What is the most ridiculous thing someone has said to you on the topic of blockchain?
Man, how long is the show? No, I'm just kidding. The most ridiculous thing is saying cash is king to me.
Okay.
They say cash is king, but they hardly use cash. Cash is king. Okay, well, you did a transaction today. Well, I use my card, but you use your card probably 95% of the time. You keep cash on you just in case, right? And they go, yeah. So why are you saying cash is king if you don't even use it that much? Well, these places don't accept it. But you just said cash is king. So if they're not accepting it, what does that tell you? You get things like that. You get, it's a scam, right? Okay. So you're calling this a scam, but yet you use Cash App, you use Venmo, you use all these other digital currencies. And I ask him, I said, well, you put your money in a bank. They'll discredit to the banks, but you put your money in the bank. How much money are you making on that inside the bank? Or how much is the bank making off of you? Mm-hmm. They're trading your money. So you technically are the investor for the bank when you want to look at it that way. Just like you brought up to your point, you go in there, they put 500,000 in, they try to go in there and say, I want 100,000 back. Well, you give us a minute because they got to make their money. So how much money are you making on that 500,000? Shouldn't you be like, 500,000? Imagine me putting 500,000 into Bitcoin and all of a sudden I look up and that number went from 70,000 to 90,000. I'll take that chance any day. So as your company, you should be accepting crypto. You should be embracing it, saying, hey, I want to start accepting Bitcoin. And then I can take that Bitcoin and put it into the Keisha coin. You can convert it. Or you can say half of it. You can say, all right, I've got $20 from that transaction, but 10 of it I'm going to put into Keisha coin and 10 of them I'm leaving in Bitcoin. So now you figure out which one's going to go up. Now your Keisha coin you have control over because you control the narrative on your own coin. You're the bank. You are literally the bank. Even with your Bitcoin, you are the bank. Now, if you have it on like your coins on like Coinbase or crypto.com or places like that, those are centralized exchanges. They literally have custody of your wallet.
Yeah, that's not really your.
It's not really your coin.
You have a rewards card inside of their platform.
Yes,
but you can't cash out at least. But
correct.
It's kind of like.
Yeah, we use MetaMask and Trust Wallet. Shout out to MetaMask Trust Wallet. decentralized, those are the safest places. Because a lot of people, you'll see them go out and get a cold storage, all that stuff. That's great, if you want to get one of those. But Trust Wallet and MetaMask, they all decentralized, so you can kind of move stuff. You can move it how you want. Like you got little ones, right? Your little ones can have a wallet inside that. It doesn't matter because it's decentralized.
Right.
And I can move it however I please. You in Coinbase and you try to move some money, Coinbase is going to hold it for a little bit because they're like, well, let me see. We got to see if we got enough liquidity. And it's the same thing as a bank. So yeah, it's a lot to learn within 30 minutes, but we teach this stuff for free. That's why people are like, man, nobody does nothing for free. It's different when I want you to understand crypto, because that's where the world is going. It is vital that you learn blockchain. So, and that's why we got the Network 22 event. That's what you're excited about.
You are reading my mind. I'm thinking in my head, what am I going to ask next? And then you are like, you already got it served up. But yeah,
working in radio for so long, it's like, yeah. It makes it easier working in radio because you kind of know the transitions. Like, okay, how are we going to seg? How are we going to seg? How are we going to seg? And you just get used to it. So yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah. So when it comes to the event, Network 22, we're excited. We love, the motivation and the inspiration more came from Ishan. We both know Ishan. And going to Dallas meetup, and which I'm excited for Dallas meetup that's coming up. And so we wanted to also have a platform for AI blockchain. A lot of time they have these events in Vegas, or they have them in other places, Miami. They have some in Dallas, but it's not like blockchain, like AI blockchain, big type of events that we should be having. So Network 22, we took it to another level and said, you know what, we're going to start doing this ourselves. Instead of us going and taking it to other groups and saying, hey, we want to put on, go with your group and do this. That's us creating our own tables. It goes back to the mindset of, I'm tired of trying to have a seat at somebody else's table. We're going to do it ourselves. So Network 22 is we're excited for this first event. We have you with Keisha, and then we have Dan Senowat. Excited about Dan, coming on board. He's been on the show a few times. We have Matt. Matt is in the blockchain space. LaRose, love that guy. Then we have Brian, who's with Brian Starks. And I always laugh at Brian because Brian's like, man, I was the first Starks before Tony Starks. But so he is with cybersecurity. So we're going to be tokenizing cybersecurity. So imagine your company, with AI still needing that back end for cybersecurity. So we're excited for Starks Technologies. He's got a lot of good. He just partnered with DISD and some other places for. So congrats to Brian for that. So he's going to be one of the presenters, and pretty soon, now we're going to start getting the ladies in there, the ladies in there on the AI blockchain. So that's coming. So we want to make sure that we highlight everybody. Because anybody, a lot of people ask, what's your clientele? Everybody. So Network 22 is, like I said, it's an amazing event that we're putting on, and it's going to just grow. It's going to grow from there. We're setting up things different where we want people to be able to have and again, it's kind of going to Dallas meetup. I love how to do it, and it's so simplified where you get write your name tag, right? So then we're going to color code our name tags so where people know you're either a founder, a CEO, you're looking for, a job. There's no more, what do you do? I can look at your color coded on your name tag. You just got to know, oh, that's what that color means, because that means you're a CEO or you're hiring, so we'll be able to color code it and do different things. Network 22 is not just about events. So we're going to be starting Network 22 as also a pitch competition, because now we're going to be able to go in there and help some of these businesses get funding. So Network 22 is going to pick specific people once a month, and you pitch your business. Then we critique you on your pitch. That's when we bring in experts, and we say, hey, oh, that's cool. So now we're able to put them in that Network 22. And the reason why we have a globe and a map on there is because we want to connect you around the world on what your product can actually do. But now we're able to also implement them into the blockchain technology as well, because the funding makes it easier in blockchain, makes it way easier, because I can extend a line of credit, up to $500 million and say, hey, boom, let's go. You need this money, for your business, let me see what kind of funding that we can do for you and extend this line of credit. Now, if your company's not ready, obviously you're not ready for the pitch. Now, obviously, companies like y'all are already established, so it's easy for us to have at Network 22 have Keisha there to present because you're already established. So now we want to bring in these new entrepreneurs, have them in the pitch, see what their pitch is about, see how good it is. If it's great, cool, then we'll put you on the big stage for the next big quarterly Network 22 event. So the goal is to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing to where it never stops. People are going to always create businesses. So Network 22 is going to keep it flowing through that whole ecosystem. So it's all about adding groups to the ecosystem where I can call on you and say, hey, I may need Cinewatt. I may say, hey, Dan, I need you for this because this company, I need to put you with this person. So I don't have to worry about Dan not taking care of us because they're already in the ecosystem because it's already hitting that token. Everybody's winning. This is a system where everybody wins. It works in a circle, not a pyramid.
Okay, this is actually pretty amazing, and the fact that it's in Texas, I feel like Texas is the hub for a lot of innovation. It seems like it's set up for it. There's a lot of activity like this going on, but you have a lot of experience in life. It sounds like. I mean, you have a big family. You own franchises. You've done the sales piece. You worked at Six Flags, which is like an emotional roller coaster. Literally,
like literally.
Now you're
no
doing
pun intended.
Right? You're doing the blockchain. If you had to give your top principles for life to someone, and it could be one principle, 5. I don't know how many you have, but what would those principles be?
I love you. I have a principle that I follow. And I actually, Mike, my partner, he actually, that's his saying, and I've taken it to stride and now I use it. It's, stop being afraid of what could go wrong and get excited about what will go right. Because everybody's always looking at, man, what if this and what if this? Then what if it does go right? People don't even think that way. So I go through life, seeing always a great outcome, because some people will come to you and say, but this could happen. Things happen. Why are you throwing negativity towards it? Put that positivity out there. Always walk around and be positive. Yes, we have our emotions. I know us guys, we carry emotion on our shoulder. We try to be the strong ones. But at the end of the day, people have gone through things. I've gone through things. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. If somebody says they're perfect, run away because you can't tell them anything. But yes, that's the thing, is that I always look at the outcome as being great. Some people say you got to look at why, because society told you to look at it that way. If you're selfish, and then I would say the second thing is making sure that you don't feel selfish because you're doing something for yourself and not others. What you're doing is you have to be able to, in order for you to do for others, you got to make sure your cup is full. And if that way you can pour into others, but you've got to also make sure that you're filling your cup back up. Because if not, you'll lose yourself. You will definitely lose yourself. You will lose interest in what you're doing because you get burned out because nobody's pouring back into you. So now you've drained yourself. So always make sure before you pour into others, make sure your cup is full.
That's 100. That's solid advice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the show. I'm glad to have you. I'm looking forward to the next Network 22 event. I can't wait for it. But hopefully you enjoyed this podcast, and I'll see you guys for the next one.